Welcome back, Gems, to a wonderful episode of the Grateful Gem podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Shannelle, and today we are talking about be ready but not ready. Stick around because gems are definitely about to be dropped and you don't want to miss out, so get ready. I need everyone listening to this podcast episode to follow us on Instagram at the Grateful Gem Pod and also follow me at Jasmine Shannelle. Don't worry, I spelled everything out and left it in the notes below. Take a look. See you there. Now let's get into this episode. Hi, Gems. I know that it has been a while since I have recorded, but I have not been feeling well. I had some life events happen that were not expected, and they are still taking a toll on me. However, I'm going to try to record this episode for you guys today and just get the message out there. I know you guys may hear it in my voice that I am not sound like I usually am, but that's because I am not feeling well. And I'm trying to just push through so that I can get this out. I wanted to do this 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I didn't have the strength. I couldn't get through it without crying. It's just been a rough couple of months. The last 2 months has been really rough. And I have just been trying to find my way back to my normal self, and I have not gotten there yet. It is a process every day that I tend to try to get back to the old me, and as you can hear, I have not gotten there yet. However, I don't want to let that stop what it is that I'm supposed to be saying to you guys, because we all go through things, and we all get through by hearing someone else's testimony or hearing someone else's words. We never know what other people are going through as well. I listened to a sermon by Dr. Tony Evans the Sunday after his wife passed, and he talked about getting through struggles. I linked that episode down below in a few other episodes because I thought that was just amazing. You know, this man had literally lost his wife, and he still got up on Sunday to preach. And I thought that was awesome. That showed a person who was humble, a person who was grateful and thankful, and knew that at the end of the day, people still counted on him. And I find it sometimes hard to feel like, how can I, encourage other people when I can't encourage myself? How can I speak life into other people when I can't speak life into myself? And it reminded me of the episode, The Power of One. It talked about how we are not called to heal ourselves. We are called to be in ministry with godly counsel and have friends that can pray for us, so that when we are in seasons of time and turmoil that we're not able to strengthen and fight for ourselves, that they're able to go to war for us in prayer and send up prayers on our behalf. And so today I woke up not feeling the best, but I still want to do what it is that God has called me to do, because this is not an excuse to take a seat away from my purpose. These things are already planned out in our life, and we have to learn to, deal with them, of course, and then get back to what seems to be normal, because I can't say that I'm ever going to be the person that I used to. At least it doesn't look that way. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but right now, for the past 2 months, I've been this person. And it's not fun. It's not me. It's just, you try to wake up with a smile. You try to wake up with a laugh. It barely happens, or it doesn't happen. And I just realized that in life, you don't get to pick and choose your battles. God is so giving, but God will also, take things from us. And in the matter of him giving and taking, we have to learn how to be grateful and thankful, because the very thing that he's given, will benefit us from what was taken. And sometimes it's bigger than just an item. It's bigger than just material things. It's actually people. People leave us all the time. And recently my grandma passed away. We know that she was old, and people die, but it wasn't expected for her to die so soon. It was just sudden, and They don't even know what caused her death. So now lets me know that it wasn't anything that was killing her. They can't say like, oh, this happened and she died. They don't know what happened. She didn't have COVID. She didn't have, anything. She went to dialysis, but she's been doing that for years. And they didn't say, oh, she died because she had fluid around her kidney or fluid around her lungs. They don't know why she died. So that lets me know that it was just time for her to go. That, she went at peace, and it wasn't something that took her out, but God so many ways called her home. And so that has been so tragic on my family, and as anyone can imagine, losing a life is never a good thing, and you have to find your way. I don't want to be that person that goes through another 3 or 4 years losing myself because I lost someone, and that has happened to me. I talked about it all the time, especially when I lost my dad. I lost 3 years of my life, really 4 or 5 years, because I was lost. I didn't know how to live my own life because I didn't have him here. I didn't know how to get to where I need to go to without having him. And I think about I was watching Black Panther, and when he was talking about, he wasn't ready, he don't know how he's going to make it when his dad died, and his dad asked him, and told him that a father that has not set his son up for his death is a father that failed. And he asked him, did I fail you? And I had to realize that, at the end of the day, my dad was a great dad. He was there for us. He did what he could for us. And we have to learn how to, navigate this world on our own. And so now I live a life where it's like, I don't want anybody 100% dependent on me. I want them to be able to, of course, trust my judgment and be able to make sound decisions without me. And that's something that I also want to teach, or I am teaching my sister, because I never want us to be so close, so tight that she can't make decisions for herself without consulting me. And so so that she doesn't go through a period of where if I leave, that she's lost and trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? I don't have my sister. Anyways, that's not what today's topic was going to be about. But rather being ready or not ready. So kind of this is kind of what I was going to talk about. So I just want to talk about for a little while about how things happen and we're not really ready for them. God can show us things. He can prepare us. And when it comes, we still are not ready. Or we feel like we're ready, but we're really not ready. When it happens, we're still amazed. We're still shocked. Of course, we know that people die. People die all the time. People die every day. But it doesn't make knowing that any easier when that person leaves. It's just something that you can't, in my opinion, mentally prepare for. Of course, I knew that the day that my grandma was going to die was going to come because, like I said, she's getting older. She's going through a lot of things. But again, she didn't die because of any diseases. She didn't die because of any health conditions. She went peacefully. And that just lets us know that, we don't know the hour, the day, or the time that we will go. And, people sit around and wait for, the world's about to end, blah, blah, blah. We know that that's going to happen. We read that in the Bible. But my thing is, let's not be so focused on the day that God returns, that Jesus returns to us, that we miss out on the days that we live in. Because sometimes I look at topics or I look at posts on social media about that, and people are just like, I'm ready, come take me, I'm ready, I'm ready to go back. And they don't really know. Sometimes I wonder, do people really know what they're saying? Because in a matter of you thinking you're ready, and then when it's time, what happens when you find out you weren't ready? And so I thought about it, and I say, you know what? We need to stop living in a world where we're so focused on tomorrow that we focus on today. And that when today leaves, we don't go into the next day worried about yesterday or worried about the day before that, because we don't have the power to change the sources of what happens in a day. We don't have that. And I was listening to this message by Dharius Daniels, and it was called, I Didn't See This Coming. And this was a sermon that really spoke to me, because this is how I feel with both of the things that are going on in my life right now. I did not see these coming. And it's like, God prepared me for both of them. But when it was time for reality to hit, and it actually hit the fan, I was like, what? Are you serious right now? And like I said, people can sit here and say, oh, I prepared for this and all the. I just don't think you can prepare for someone to die or for some bad news to come to you. You just can't prepare for that, because it doesn't matter how much you mentally try to stay strong. You're still in the inside you're gonna grieve, you're gonna cry, you're gonna feel a certain way. And like I said, we know that one day we're all gonna leave this world, and God had already revealed to me in dreams a long time ago. And I honestly didn't really understand what they meant until it happened. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And so, of course, I didn't tell anybody about those dreams, because I'm just like, that's just so sacred. People are going to be like, what? Girl, you crazy? And so when it happened, I was just like, wow. And then I got the other news, and I was like, wow, this makes perfect sense. God had revealed those things to me. And I remember years ago, I had thought that it was going to happen then, and then it didn't. Neither one of those events happened. And I was like, okay, maybe that was just a dream, because God doesn't speak to me. He doesn't speak to us in every dream that we have. So sometimes we could just literally, be having a random dream. Anyways, so when I thought about that, I got even more upset, because I'm just like, it doesn't matter how much or how many times that God could prepare me or show me or reveal to me things that are going to happen. I'm never prepared. And that's what made me, talk about this ready, not ready. Because in a sense where you know what's going to happen and you see it happen, and when it happens, you're still not mentally or physically prepared to go through what it is that you're going through. And I try to keep reminding myself this every day to, pick myself up and keep going. But in a sense where you're not ready to face the world that you used to know, because the things that used to be aren't anymore. So it's like, how do you face your reality in a way that you don't know how to, because it's not the same? I went to my grandma's house to help my brother clean up, me and my sister, and it just felt so weird. It didn't feel like my grandma was dead. Like, it didn't feel like she had died. It just felt like she wasn't there, It wasn't like awkward when we were there. It just felt like we were there helping clean up, and she was just on her way home. But she never came, of course, because she died. And so just going over there is just awkward now, because it's like, it's a reality that, she's never coming back. And to sit there and really process that, it's a hard reality, because again, we know that people are going to leave us, but we never prepared for that moment. And so I was listening to this sermon, and he said that, God reminds us that you get today and I got tomorrow. And I was like, wow, that's good, because again, like I said, we can't go into tomorrow stressing about today, and we can't go into today stressing about yesterday, because at the end of the day, what has happened yesterday is gone. You can't get that day back. You can't change time and go back tomorrow and change what happened yesterday. You can only focus on what's going on at this very moment. You can't even focus on what's going to happen an hour from now today. You can only focus on what's going on in this very minute right now. And so he says that, God says, you get today and I got tomorrow. So you not even worry about today, but you handle today. You get through today, and then I'll handle tomorrow. And then I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you when you get here tomorrow. And then it'll be the same situation. You get today, I get tomorrow. God says, do not worry, do not fear, for I am with you. And so I was like, wow, that is good, because I sit here and I really stress about, this and that and this and that. And of course, when you're burying a loved one, you're thinking about how we're going to do the funeral, how we're going to do this, and how we're going to pay for this, and how we're going to do this, who's going to help clean up, what's going to happen with this, da-da-da. You're focusing on things that we have no control over. And you're getting worked up, you're getting stressed out. And it's not healthy, but it's stuff that you have to do because someone has to do it. And so, he also talked about, Moses and the Israelites, getting Moses to save the Israelites in Exodus 13:18. And he talked about how, God shows us things. God tells us things, God prepares us, God shows us, but we never know the route that's going to be taken. Because there was, if you think about it, the story with Moses and the Israelites, they went around and had to go through the Red Sea because they weren't mentally capable of going a shorter way. Because a shorter way would guarantee them warfare. And that was a war that they weren't mentally prepared to fight. So in order to save them physically and mentally, God gave them a scenic route. That, yes, they sometimes question Moses and they question, well, let's just go back. But in the midst of fear, in the midst of doubt, of not knowing what would come next, they kept going. And they were able to partner at sea, and the people that came for them were drowned in the sea. And so I was like, that's crazy, because I know I'm not the only one who could testify that we've gone through experiences, we've gone through jobs, we've gone through friendships, relationships, life experiences, marriages. We've gone through life, and we knew the outcome of what was going to happen, but we didn't know how it was going to happen. And the way that it happened was not the way that we saw it happening. And in that very moment, we think like, God, did I make the wrong mistake? That's like, for instance, when I took the job at Bank of America, get there, do training, get on the floor. And once we start doing the work, I was like, wait a minute, the job description that they gave me is not the job description that I am doing. I'm doing totally different from what was presented to me. And at that moment, I started to doubt myself. And I'm like, did I make the right decision? I should have just waited. Maybe this was just a sign to show me that I'm not supposed to be in Bank of America. I tried to get here so long, blah, blah, blah. I was sitting here literally going back and forth with myself about what it was that I did wrong. Because, yeah, I knew that I would one day be at Bank of America. Did I know how it was going to happen? And then the way, like, I talked about this in a few other episodes as well. But the interview day that I did the interview was crazy. I almost didn't get the interview. The person that was supposed to interview me was in me, and I couldn't contact them because people at the service desk was like, you need to have a contact number. I'm like, I don't know these people, and I don't have a contact for them. And so, in a moment where, you're so anxious and you're so excited about something can very well happen to where you're not prepared, and you're thinking that, oh, I should just leave, I should just go, and that'll be the best solution. But I think about what would have happened had I left, and had I just not been patient. I literally sat there, was rushed for time, was thinking that I was going to be late for my job, because I was at work, and I was thinking I was going to be late for work, but it ended up working out. It ended up working in my favor. And I knew at that moment, I was like, oh, I got the job. Like, I knew it. And so I got the job. And again, when I started training was okay. Got on the floor, and I was like, wait a minute, this is not what we learned. This is not what the job description said. And I was just like, again, I knew that I was going to get the job. I knew that I was going to one day end up at Bank of America. How it was going to happen, I didn't know. And when I got there, how it would be, I didn't know. But God had already prepared me, this is something that you're going to do. And so I thought about it. I'm just like, God will reveal things to you at times you don't think are relevant. And I think about that all the time, because like I said, God has shown me, these things that are happening now. He showed me this years and years and years and years ago. And in that moment, I was just like, this is just another dream. This isn't anything that needs to be relevant or needs to be, kept, because there's no way. Because the moment I thought it was happening, it didn't happen. And so, I literally had to think about, not to take everything at face value in that moment, and just sacred those thoughts. And so that when the times were relevant, that they would make sense. And now that the time is relevant, they do make sense. So I said all this to say that, are you loving this episode? Great. Don't forget to leave your feedback by rating and leaving a review on Apple iTunes. Also, don't forget to subscribe anywhere, wherever you're listening to this podcast. And make sure that you follow us on Instagram to keep up in the know of what's going on with the podcast. Okay, let's get back to the episode. No matter what you're going through, God is still good. God will still prepare you. God will still show you. You have to be willing to pay attention. You have to be willing to accept what is from God, what He's showing you, and what that means in your life. Because I can honestly say that through this whole journey, I've never one time doubted God. I may have doubted myself a few times, but God never, because I know that everything happens at the right moment, at the right time, at the right place. And we have to remember that our ways are not God's ways. And so even though, I would wish for my grandmother to be here, and even though I would wish that this other situation had happened different and had happened at a later time, God knew what was best. And these two instances happened. The first situation happened literally 3 days before I found out, or 3 days before my grandma passed. And so that kind of stung me, because I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, how am I going to get through this? Getting this to me at the moment is crazy news and shocking news, and then to get bad news and realize that, this isn't something that I can't control either one of these situations. And in that moment, I realized that God has our best interests at heart. We may not see it now, but God definitely is on our side. Even when we think we're ready, we may not be ready. I think about people that talk about relationships all the time, that think about marriage, and people who want those so badly. And then you get in a marriage and you want to find yourself, or you need time to heal from things that you were broken from, or you get in a relationship and the things that you should have been doing while you were single, you're now doing while you're in a relationship. And so you start to question yourself, like, was I ready? And you have to come back and say no. Some people are fascinated with the idea of things. So they think that in the situation where they're in seasons of opposite whatever it is that they're trying to get into, they get into it. And while they're in seasons where they should be preparing, they're not preparing. They just wait and say, oh, I'm ready. I'm finna do whatever. I'm finna go to school, or I'm finna get this second job, or I'm finna take on the world, whatever it is that you're doing. Because sometimes we step into a battlefield, and we're not ready. We have all the armor, but we don't know how to use it. Or we have no armor and we don't know how to use what we have. So we're ready, but not ready. And sometimes we can be mentally ready, but not physically ready. And sometimes we can be physically ready, but not mentally ready. And so I encourage you, and as well as myself, for that, whatever you're believing God for, that you not only be ready, but in this season of wherever you're at, that you also get ready. Whatever you're manifesting through God, whatever you're believing in God for, I pray that in this season, while you don't have whatever it is that you're waiting for, that you prepare. If you're trying to get married, prepare to be a wife or a husband. Prepare to get whatever it is that you need to get out and work through in your singleness, so that when you come together as one, that you can be the best one that you can be. If you're looking for a relationship to start dating, do the same thing. Of course, you're going to prepare a little different, because relationships and marriage is different. But you're going to still be looking to work through the things that you need to get through your singleness. Making sure that this person is the right person for you to be dating. Making sure the right person that you're thinking about marrying is the right person that you should be marrying. Making sure that the steps that you're taking not only reflect, I'm ready, but not ready, but they reflect, I'm prepared, I've prepared, and I am ready. If you're looking to start a business, do your research, man. Do your research. Start planning. Make goals. A lot of time what we do is we wake up, have this great dream, and then we expect it to take off that day. And we don't realize that it takes time to build something great. Think about Noah in the ark. God prepared him for a day he had never seen. People were calling him crazy. And then when the day came, people was just like, oh, let me in this boat, Noah. Like, open this door. You locked up in here. And if you think about it, God sealed him, or basically trapped him in that boat, because he knew that the heart of Noah would have opened that boat and let people in. And the people that were trying to get in may not only want it to be safe, but they maybe had sought to kill him because of what he knew. So you have to also be aware of who you're letting inside your life, who you're trusting with your information. Are you Noah that would let people in that could physically or mentally harm you? Because you have to protect your peace. And that's something that I'm learning right now. I can't really say that my peace is protected, because I'm just not at peace with nothing right now, to be honest. But I'm protecting myself from a lot of things. My family is going through a lot, dealing with my grandma passing, and there's a lot of foolishness going on, and I'm just separating myself from that because, again, I have my own issues that I'm trying to work through, trying to figure out how I'm going to make it through what I'm going through, how to process with my grandma, but at the same time, I am there offering support, making sure that my brother is okay, making sure my sister is okay, checking in on my aunts, my cousins, from time to time when I can, but don't push yourself out there to do more, to take care of other people, and you're not taking care of yourself. Because even though God doesn't give us the power to strengthen ourselves, to pray for ourselves in the moments for a week, we do have the capacity to take care of ourselves, to make sure that we're okay. Check in with you first before you check in with somebody else. Because if you think about it, when you're on an airplane, the people say if you're crashing or if something happens, make sure you have on your mask. Because if you can't breathe and you're dying trying to help somebody else, you're not helpful. You're struggling, that person may die and you may die. So make sure that you're strapped in on a roller coaster. You have your mask on the plane if it goes down. Make sure that you're secure and safe first. Because a person that is not secure and safe trying to help somebody else is only a person that's going to go down with that person, and it's not going to be a good tragedy. I don't know if I should really use those examples, but I want you guys to get the picture. But just remember that blessings can also feel like a curse. I'm not going to say they're a curse. Blessings can also feel like a curse, but we have to, at a later date, we'll probably feel a different way. And you have to just pray for your mindset. That's what I've been doing. I've been praying that God changes my mindset about all of this, that he turns my mindset around. It hasn't worked yet. I'm kind of flighty. I'm up and down about it. And sometimes I'm emotional, I'm vulnerable, and I just say the craziest things. And in addition, to be honest, I mean them. But at the same time, it's just like, Jasmine, you got to do better. And so in a moment of trying to be there for everybody else, I'm trying to show up for myself because I need myself right now. And I pray that people understand, because sometimes I realize also that people will literally want you to show up for them, and you can't even show up for yourself. People will expect you to be there to get them through whatever it is they're going through, but they don't know that you're literally waking up every morning wanting to die. They don't know that you're waking up every moment not figuring out what it is that you're going through, and to wake up and have to deal with your own issues, their issues, the other issues that's going on in your own family, and trying to help them. That's a lie. And for people that don't know your situation because you haven't opened up and told them, okay, I get it. But for the people that know your situation and they consistently take when you don't have anything to give, that's just not fair, and it's selfish. And I pray that if that's happening to you, that you protect your peace and you say your justice and say, hey, listen, I'm going through my own phase right now. I'm going through my own roller coaster. I ask that you pray for me, and I ask that you be there. And don't be so focused on counting the people that don't show up, but make note of the people that do show up, so that when it matters, it matters. The people that don't show up, they don't matter. It doesn't matter how many times somebody said they were going to come check on you, or how many times they said they were going to come see you and that never happens. That doesn't matter. But you take count of the people that actually show up, the people that you ask to pray for you, that are actually praying for you, the people that are actually making sure that your well-being is taken care of. Those are the things that matter. Sometimes we sit down and we waste time on things that don't even make sense, that don't matter. Don't count people that don't show up. Just remember, when they don't show up, and I'm not saying that when they don't show up, you don't have to show up, because you can be the bigger person, but don't be that person that's just gullible, and then it's just like, oh, I just believe everything they say, No. If you want to show up for that person out of the kindness of your heart, you do that. And don't bring up, oh, I showed up for you, you didn't show up for me. Because at the end of the day, you can still love somebody and love them at a distance. If they need your help, they need your prayer, you pray for them, you help them. But just remember to stay at a distance, because when it counted the most, when you needed them, they weren't there. But we're not counting that. We're counting the people that weren't there. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. Just remember to not only mentally think that you're ready, but be prepared, you guys. Be physically and mentally, emotionally ready. Be ready on all aspects. 360, a whole turnaround. Be ready, so that when God elevates you to where you're elevated to, you're ready. I don't know what it is, a house, a car, a promotion, a relationship, a child, a family, a friend. I don't care what it is that God is taking you through, that you're praying for, you're believing God for. Debt-free, financial freedom, be prepared. prepare. Prepare now while you don't have those things, so that when they come, you are ready. And don't just small prepare. Prepare all the way around. Do your research. See what it is that you can do to be prepared for this, because you're believing it. And ask God what you should be doing, and He'll definitely guide you. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. I will see you on the next episode. I love you guys. I hope that you continue to shine as the gems you are, and continue to protect your peace, and continue to prepare in seasons that you are waiting for seasons and different doors to open, so that when those doors are open unto you, you will be elevated in the correct way, and you're not regretting that you did something different, or regretting that it's happened, because you were prepared. I love you. Bye.